Quite a scene here inside Wembley Stadium for the final London game of the 2018 National Football League season. And we are thrilled to start your Sunday morning if you are watching us from overseas or wherever you're watching us. Welcome to the NFL Network debut of Four Men and a Football Game. I am Rich Eisen, pleased to be joined by my compadres, normally on NFL Game Day morning in the studio, Kurt Warner, Steve Mariucci, and Michael Irvin. Okay, as if we don't have enough drama between these 2, 3, and 4 teams, Kurt, we've got a quarterback coming off of being benched. How do you expect Blake Bortles to handle that today?
Well, I'll tell you what, Rich, I played a lot of games in this league, dealt with a lot of criticism, and also dealt with my fair share of benchings. And I tell you what, there's nothing more difficult, guys, than when the questions start to come from inside your own locker room. The players on the other side are looking at you like, is this the guy? Your coach benches you a week ago saying, I'm not sure this is the right guy to start for our football team. So I'm really got my eyes on number 5 today and go, how are you going to play this game? Can you put all that stuff behind you and go out and play aggressive football? Or are you continually looking over your shoulder saying, well, I just can't make that one mistake? If you do, it could be a long day for Blake Bortles.
Well, Kurt, you're talking about a guy coming off of being benched. Let me talk about the other guy, Carson Wentz, coming off of knee surgery. And after a few months, and the medical staff was very cautious, started Nick Foles the first couple games, and Carson Wentz has been playing better and better each week. In fact, the last 4 starts, 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 312 yards passing per game. Last year, he was an MVP candidate. You know what, Mike? He's playing a lot like that right now.
Yeah, what I love about this game is both of these teams this week did an internal audit trying to regain that championship pedigree that got them to their conference title game last season. And whenever we get NFL teams that are desperate like these 2 teams are, we'll have a great game on that pitch today.
Interesting you use the phrase internal audit, Michael, because apparently a local establishment here in London did an early morning internal audit and noticed they were several thousand pounds light from the Jacksonville Jaguar contingent that was there. And that's how we, interestingly enough, throw down to Melissa Stark, who's been with the Jaguars all week. Melissa?
Yes, Rich, by now we've all heard about that no curfew Jaguar incident at the London Club on Friday night. Well, I can tell you this, the bill was 36,000 pounds. That's about $46,000. All 4 of the players involved are on the Jaguars secondary. 3 of them will be active today. Barry Church, Ronnie Harrison, and Jared Wilson. DJ Hayden inactive, but that is due to injury. I'm told by the Jaguars all of these players will be eventually paying that bill and being disciplined once they get home. The reason being, this Jaguar secondary has been decimated by injuries. Their leader, cornerback A.J. Boye, didn't even make the trip because of a strained calf. Now let's go over to the Eagles sideline. Our good friend, Peter Schrager.
Melissa, there was no partying for the Eagles. In fact, they had a curfew, and they were all accounted for at 11 p.m. on Friday night. They look at this as a business trip. And the Eagles organization views this very similar to what the trip to L.A. in Week 14 was last year for them. They went to L.A., they beat the Rams, they went on a long road trip, and they came back and they started their Super Bowl march. They're hoping that's what the London trip can be for them. They'll have to do it, though, without Derek Barnett, their talented second-year defensive end. He's out with injury. Josh Sweat, a rookie 4th-round pick, is going to have to fill in for him. Rich, up to you.
Thank you very much, Peter. Melissa, Doug Peterson's Philadelphia Eagles at 3-4, looking up at the Washington Redskins, fresh off their win against Dallas last week. They take on the Giants later today. And as we all know, Week 8 began with Deshaun Watson throwing for as many touchdowns as the Texans have wins. So Jacksonville really needs this win. Otherwise, they'll be 2 games behind Houston in the AFC South. As you can see, it is a little bit blue in the sky. About 50 degrees at kickoff. A chilly day, and it rained overnight. So the pitch, as they say, is a touch soggy. The Jacksonville Jaguars won the toss and have elected to defer to the second half. So the Philadelphia Eagles are getting set to receive right now here at Wembley Stadium. We are fired up here, to be very honest. Excited to be with you here on NFL Network. Josh Lambo going to kick things off for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and DeAndre Carter deep for the Philadelphia Eagles to receive. It's the first game for the Eagles on foreign soil. They played twice in London, but during the preseason. It's their first regular season game. And as Kurt's wife Brenda can attest at passport control when she came through this week.
Eagles fans everywhere, Rich.
They
everywhere.
were. And the game starts with Carter thinking about it, but he doesn't take it out, and it'll start at the 25-yard line as there's a little bit of pushing and shoving. So it's a spirited start to the game today as Carson Wentz trots out for the Philadelphia Eagles. And as you said, Steve, to start this broadcast, he has been Carson Wentz on fire.
He really has, and 9 touchdowns and no interceptions lately. He's taken great care of the football. The matchup you want to watch right now, where is Jalen Ramsey? Right now he's standing over the ball, and he's probably going to say, all right, I want Alshon Jeffrey. Where is he?
So Wentz, who missed the first 2 games of the season, still coming back from his knee injury, under center. Start the game. Wendell Smallwood is getting set behind him. And he gets the first carry. And it's a nice pickup on first down to get this started. So Smallwood is the starter with Corey Clement coming into the game later on, no doubt. As one of the Eagles is getting up slowly, and we have our first timeout on the day. And that's Jason Kelsey, the center, who's limping off. Oh my, that's a big moment here in the game. And we can see what ails him, it appears, as he comes off the pitch. So now play is back in, and it is 2nd and short right now for Wentz in shotgun. 2nd and 3 to be exact. Barking out the signals here. 5-wide scenario. Wentz first pass of the game is tipped incomplete. And it'll be 3rd and 3. Malik Jackson with the tip right there, bringing up the first 3rd down of the game. The Jacksonville Jaguars defense is missing some members on the back end. Up front, that's clearly a stout front 4. Miles Jack right in the middle for defensive coordinator Todd Wash. And again, we mentioned Jalen Ramsey is going to be on Alshon Jeffrey wherever he goes all day. Quentin Meeks, the rookie, is going to have his hands full with Gibson and Church also back in the secondary. 3rd and 3 now. Wentz throw is tipped again, but back to Wentz, who grabs it out of the air and gets the first down.
Well, it's kind of strange having 2 balls batted down in your first series, but he took advantage of that, caught it for the first down. Wow.
And you also see the athleticism of Carson Wentz. You're coming off that knee injury. We've seen some moments the last couple weeks where he's using his feet to make big plays. There's one right there up in the air. I'm not just going to back this down. I'm going to catch it and get ourselves a first down.
So let it be known, Wentz's first completion in London is to himself as he gives that off to Smallwood again for a small gain.
And an unfortunate play there for the Jags because they've been preaching all week. Start fast, start fast, start fast. They've been outscored 57-0 in the first half the last 3 games. There they had 2 tip balls. That would have been a 3 and out. The unfortunate tip back to Carson Wentz for the first down.
I love that Carson got up and gave the first down signal.
Just like you.
Tells you how hype he is for this game.
2nd and 9. Opening drive for the Eagles. And there is movement, flags everywhere, and a lot of finger pointing everywhere. We'll see John Hussey, his first call of the day. 4th year as a ref in the
7
league.
fraction. Offense, number 62. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Well, that should let you know that Kelsey's back in the game.
He's back.
He's had an interesting first few snaps here in London.
And Kurt, you know this, when you're playing against a very aggressive defensive front, you try to hard count them early, and I think they caught themselves a little bit in trouble.
So now it's 2nd and 14.
Great.
Wentz throwing, and it's tipped again and out of the hands of Ertz as Quentin Meeks breaking it up right there, bringing up 3rd and long. So it didn't take long for him to try and target Zach Ertz today.
When they got the matchup they wanted, they put Ertz out to the left-hand side all by himself against Quentin Meeks. the young rookie who's starting today because A.J. Bowie has that calf injury and stayed home. So they got the matchup they wanted. Carson Wentz just left that ball a little bit too far to the inside. Otherwise, that's a completion.
So they've already completed their first third down, but tip ball to himself probably won't get the necessary yardage on 3rd and long. Here's Wentz. Lots of time. Runs out of time and throws complete to Jordan Matthews. What a throw and catch. First down, Philadelphia.
That's fantastic. And you know, Carson Wentz stepped up in the pocket. He remained a passer, eyes downfield, and man, he got that thing to Jordan Matthews. What a great play. Now they're going no huddle.
The wonder with his legs and everything, the injury, boy, he is all the way back with that play.
And as you mentioned, quick snap. Here's Wentz again. Lots of time, but he runs out all of a sudden. Ball is loose, and they're letting it go. They're letting it go, and it's Telvin Smith on his feet, going the other way, still on his feet. And down at the 25 of Philadelphia. Obviously, we'll take a look. On the play, there is a flag down at what was the original line of scrimmage, so there is a lot going on here. There's a player down, there's a flag down.
The ruling on the field is a fumble. During the return, holding defense number 36. That penalty will be enforced 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
So for the moment, it's a turnover and wipe away the return as the call is on Harrison. Let's see if this is an empty hand or not. And it looks like we'll be back to determine what's going down in review.
This NFL Network special is brought to you by the all-new 2019 Kia Forte.
Okay, so as you can see, Jacksonville has its offense on the field. The play was upheld as a fumble by John Hussey after review. So it's 1st and 10 Jacksonville from their own 28 after just their 6th takeaway of the season. It's something they've been having trouble with on the defensive side all year. And then Bortles fumbles the first snap of the day. Wow, but he got it back. Dean Blandino, former head of NFL refs in the Fox studios in Los Angeles. What'd you think, Dean?
You know, I thought it was really close. It's the hand coming forward with control. I didn't see enough to change it, and they've done a good job staying with the call on the field when it isn't clear cut. Again, that hand has to clearly be coming forward. Looked like it just started to come out before the hand came forward, and I did like it as a fumble.
Big play by Marcel Darius to force the fumble. 2nd and 12, Bortles' first throw over the middle. And that is complete right there to David Greenidge, who is in just his only 2nd game with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, they've had 3 tight ends get injured this year, and they took him off the practice squad about 3 weeks ago, and they're playing with some real young and new tight ends, Rich.
So that was a modest gain to bring up 3rd and 7 for Bortles, who's never lost here in London, as you just saw. T.J. Yeldon, the 3rd down back to his left. Bortles stepping up in the pocket and takes off. And he picks up the first down and slides. So move the chains for Jacksonville as he crosses the 40.
And I know we've talked a lot about Blake Bortles' issues turning the football over. This is probably what he's done best this year, is when he doesn't see anything, using his legs to make big plays. Good protection right here. He just slides up, sees man-to-man coverage. Nobody there to account for the quarterback. Just take it, dive, get that first down, keep those chains moving.
That is why Coach Marrone said he went with him as the starter, because they're having problems without Leonard Fournette running the football, and he helps.
So it's a gain of 10. John Hussey calling an official's timeout for the moment. Well, we've had a lot going on in the early going right here. By the way, Lane Johnson was the Eagle that was down. The stud right tackle, so keep an eye on that.
Carson Wentz says he got hit, Rich. Fell on the back of Lane Johnson's knee or left ankle.
All right, so there's the new running back of the Jaguars, Carlos Hyde. Play fake to him, and it's Bortles running again. And Bortles getting close to the first down again, head first. So it's Blake's feet getting it done early on.
When you wondered how mentally he would bounce back from being benched last week. Maybe one of the best things is to tuck the ball and run, not have to make that big decision down the field. Do something that you feel comfortable with, and I love the second effort there at the end. Hey, guys, I'm here to win. I'm going to put my head down and try to get close to that first down.
Those numbers, that's 15,000 passing yards and 1,500 rushing yards in the first 5 seasons. This is a little dipsy-do around to D.D. Westbrook. Picks up the first down and more. Jacksonville entering Philadelphia territory now. Again, Carlos Hyde, acquired a couple of Fridays ago from the Cleveland Browns. Not enough time to get him in uniform last week against the Texans, but Andrew Norwell, that big pickup in the offseason from Carolina, they've been eager to get a running game with Fournette out to try and get that big old hoss running downhill and hitting people, and we'll see a lot of Carlos Hyde today based on the conversations we had with the coaching staff over the weekend. And here's Hyde's first carry as a Jaguar. Nice pickup and more. Dragging some defenders for a gain of 8.
I'll tell you what, guys, what I loved about this trade for Jacksonville is, we had these meetings this week, and normally teams are talking about their identity being focused on their quarterback. Doug Marrone made no joke about it. Our identity is through our power back in Leonard Fournette, and we haven't had him, so we've got away from what we really want to do here offensively. Carlos Hyde, a big back, running downhill, power back that can run through tackles, is exactly what they want to be offensively. Good pickup for the Jags.
Fournette did say he did expect to be back after the bye week, which is after this game. It's Hyde again, looking for the first down, and they appear to be ready to mark him short, bringing up 3rd and 1 on the Philadelphia 32. And the Philadelphia Eagles defense, as you could see up front, some familiar names. Haloti Ngata back after missing 3 games with a calf injury. Derek Barnett is out for the season now, having shoulder surgery. There's Jordan Hicks in the middle of the linebacking group, and Malcolm Jenkins and Ronald Darby, along with Jalen Mills and Avonte Maddox, is Jim Schwartz's secondary. 3rd and 1. And Hyde gets knocked down shy of the first down. Bringing up the first big decision of the day. And it looks like Marrone is just going to kick the field goal.
And this is you got all these guys up on the line of scrimmage. You can only block so many. So you have the backside safety who did a nice job of filling off the edge there to make that big tackle. That's the young guy, Avonte Maddox, making that tackle in the backfield and forcing the kick.
So it is going to be a 50-yarder for Josh Lambo, as the Jaguars look for their first points of the first half in 4 weeks, and they finally get it. It is good. 50-yarder. Jacksonville on the board, turning the first turnover into points. Back underway from London. So Doug Marrone, it's been a month since he saw anything but a goose egg on the first half scoreboard for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hadn't scored since week 4 against the Jets before halftime.
And they've been preaching all week to start fast, start fast. Defense comes up with the turnover. Offense does a nice job of putting points on the board.
Lambo kicks this one off. John Carter Fields inside his 5. And there he is taken down by Lorente McCray. Just violently ends that kickoff return inside the 15. So Carson Wentz, as we all know last year, had a stellar second year for the Philadelphia Eagles. He was a bona fide MVP candidate going into the LA Coliseum last year when he dove headfirst for the end zone, came out with an injured knee that kept him inactive through the preseason in the first 2 regular season games. And as we mentioned, 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in the last month. But he fumbled on the first opening drive. Now he's inside his own 20 with a handoff to Corey Clement right there. Calais Campbell with the tackle. Peter Schrager, what's up with Lane Johnson?
Rich, if you notice, Lane Johnson not on the field. He was carted off on the cart. It's a lower body injury. We'll have more in an update shortly, but he was taken to the locker room on a cart.
And Vaitai now, he's a swing tackle. He backs up both guys. He played a lot last year for Lane Johnson, and he'll be in there. He'll do a good job.
It's a significant injury nonetheless. It's a 5-yard run for Clement, his first carry of the day. 2nd and 5 from the 19. Aguilar in motion. Wentz still has it. And there's a screen pass to Clement, who makes something out of nothing to the point where he's back to the line of scrimmage or close to it. Avery Jones blowing that one up right there.
Did a great job reading that screen. Saw it, jumped on it right away.
And it is officially a loss of 1. Bringing up a 3rd and 6. A big early moment for this Jacksonville defense. Already coming up with a takeaway and 3 and out. The Eagles offense right here. Wentz throwing back to Jeffrey with Ramsey on him right at the line of gain. Let's see what they measure right here, but there's the first Ramsey coverage on the day there.
This is going to be a little bit of a rub play, but they're going to run it backwards. The inside guy, Aguilar, is going to release outside and try to pick Jalen Ramsey, force him to go over the top and create some space. Nice job, but Ramsey did a great job of fighting through that and making the tackle right at the sticks.
They moved Ramsey. They moved Alshon Jeffrey around a lot, and they're getting set up to run a lot of rub routes if you're watching Ramsey and Jeffrey like I am.
But Jeffrey got enough for the first down. Move the chains. Here's the first carry of Josh Adams. Nice game right there on first down. Rookie out of Notre Dame.
I was talking to Carson Wentz before the game, and we've seen his stats that he's playing even better from a statistical standpoint than he was last year. But where they've struggled is 3rd down and in the red zone, where Carson Wentz last year was off the charts on 3rd down and 3rd and long. And we've already seen early today, he made that big throw on the big 3rd down on the first drive, another completion there. 2 nice 3rd down pickups early in this game.
2nd and 6. Philly 28. Wentz still has it. Running around, up the middle. Nice move. First down for Wentz. Nice play there by number 11. First down, Philly.
And we've got a couple of quarterbacks here that like to run, and they're very good. Carson Wentz now, he pulls it down. He's got a good play fake here. It looked like he tried to get the ball into Zach Ertz, you see, but he gets double teamed by the safety. He doesn't like it. He pulls it down. He's taking good care of the football. Lock that thing away and protect yourself now, Carson. Well done.
Did take a hit from Miles Jack as he went down. And Jack was the one who made the move on to get the first down. Move the chains. 1st and 10 from the Philly 37. Couple of fakes. Throws it down the field. Wide open. Aguilar. 30. Down to the 24-yard line.
What a great design that was, getting Aguilar on Tevin Smith right there and getting him wide open going across the field.
Well, you caught the Jags in zone defense right there. You run the deep corner route to clear out the corner, and then you put Aguilar up over the top of the linebackers. Nice throw, good touch by Carson Wentz over the top of Smith.
And how big was that first down that Jeffrey picked up just by mere inches? They pick up that first down, then a couple plays later they're setting up shop in the Jacksonville 24. Wentz gives it to Adams around the left side, spin move.
And you've got the Eagles without Jay Ajayi now. They're using a stable of running backs. But Josh Adams, you mentioned the rookie from Notre Dame, 6.7 yards per carry at Notre Dame. That's the best all time. This kid's pretty darn good, Rich.
Smallwood drops back into the game.
We talked about it earlier,
9 from the 23.
Rich, where this is where they've struggled. This is where the Philadelphia Eagles have struggled. They've moved the ball tremendously between the 20s, but seem to get bogged down here. Only been over 30 points scoring one time all year long.
Wentz makes a move in the pocket for the end zone, and it's intercepted by Jalen Ramsey. First 2 Eagles possessions are takeaways for Jacksonville. So Philly moves the ball. but Jacksonville stands firm, leading 3-0. 90 ticks left in the first quarter. Well, Carson Wentz just threw his first interception since his first start of the season in week 3. Steve, what happened?
Well, look at here, because we got the third string tight end Joshua Perkins in here right now, and he's going down the middle right here, and Carson Wentz wants it all here in the red zone, but number 20 over here, Jalen Ramsey's playing in zone, and he smells this thing out, and he recovers.
And once he saw Alshon go into the middle of the football field, he started cluing right on Carson Wentz, read it all the way, and picked up the interception.
And I also say it was the protection. He had to step up and hesitate before he could make that throw. He threw it late. Jalen Ramsey, nice job of reading it from the backside.
And we have survived Steve Mariucci's first telestration of the day. Good job, Steve.
That was an art major.
Bortles back on the field to TJ Weldon. I did not know that about your education experiences.
2 takeaways already by this defense.
Melissa, start.
Yeah, Rich, this Jaguars defense telling us that they worked on all week was takeaways, takeaways, takeaways. They had this players-only meeting, and Calais Campbell led it, said it went great. Everybody aired everything out. And Telvin Smith, the linebacker, telling me they haven't lost their swagger. They want to get back to their trash talking, but swagger's like hot sauce. You just got to pour a little more on.
There's a lot of that sauce with Jalen Ramsey. Big player making a big play right there. Here's Hyde. Trying to find some space, but Fletcher Cox is a space eater of the first variety in this league, and it looks like it's a short loss, bringing up 3rd and long for Jacksonville.
This is what Philly's got to get back to on defense. Been so good over the last year and a half at stopping the run, led by that guy, number 91, Fletcher Cox. The last 3 games, they've been giving up over 100 yards rushing. They talked about it this week. We've got to get back to doing what we do on defense, and that starts up front.
And the Eagles fans who made the trip across the Atlantic here getting loud on 3rd and 8. Bortles running out of time and sacked. That's Chris Long right there. Only the 5th 3rd down sack of the year for Philadelphia. And that'll wrap up the first quarter here in London. 3-0 Jacksonville. The commissioner of the National Football League, Roger Goodell, making the trip for this final game here in London. Sadiq Khan, the mayor of this great town. We have really enjoyed our time here this week, and thank the hospitable Londoners for another great hang with the National Football League. And here is the punt hanging in the air. Philly's DeAndre Carter trying to make something, and it turns out to be nothing. Friday on NFL, pardon me, hold on a second. I almost went into a premature read, everybody. There's a flag on the play. Not much went on the play, but enough to draw a flag.
During the return, holding, receiving team, number 32. 10-yard penalty enforced from the spot of the foul. First down.
Rasul Douglas with the hold there. And Friday on NFL Network, his iconic catch helped launch a dynasty, but his most courageous battle was fought off the field. The football life of Dwight Clark. It's going to be awesome. Premieres Friday at 8 Eastern, only on NFL Network.
I can't wait for that one. Dwight Clark is a great friend of mine. Quite a story.
So the Eagles, a lot of miscues so far. First drive ended in a fumble. Second drive, and Carson Wentz's first interception in 181 attempts. Now a holding penalty sets the Eagles up on their own 23. And it's thrown out of the sunlight. First connection of the day to Zach Ertz. 57 catches on the season coming into the game. Only Adam Thielen has more in the NFL.
That was their first run pass option of the day. He's going to look to either give the ball off on an inside zone or throw the ball to his slant. Could be any one of the receivers. That time it was Zach Ertz.
Gain of 6 on first down, bringing up 2nd and 4. Early stages, second quarter here at Wembley. And that is Wendell Smallwood. As Calais Campbell was the first to meet him. Bringing up 3rd and 3 here.
It was fun talking to Calais Campbell this week. If you guys remember, he was a young pup in Arizona when I was playing, and to see the leadership role that he's taken. He's the one that called the players-only meeting. And they just love this guy and what he's brought to this young group of Jaguars. And he said he sat down with Blake Bortles and wanted to let him know that the defense has as much confidence in him as the offense does.
3rd and 3. Wentz hands it off. It's a first down run for Adams. And it's important that Campbell told him that, because everybody was looking into what Jalen Ramsey said after last week's loss to the Houston Texans, talking about how it's no secret what's going on here right now. Just nobody's going to come out and say it. And most every fan thought he was referring to the quarterback who just got benched.
And that's the first way for a team to fall apart, is when the different sides start looking and pointing the fingers at the other side.
So it's a first down now. Personnel moving around on 1st and 10 from the 35 of Philly. Wentz flips it out to Aguilar. He had a nice gain of 39 earlier, and a nice move to pick up a first down.
Brought the old stiff arm, right?
Yeah, that's a great move by him. Make sure he gets that first down, stiff arm, and Tevin Smith. They line him up in the backfield. You know, those him move Nelson Aguilar around quite a bit and get him the ball in the short distance and allow him to use his run after catch ability just like they did there.
Jason Peters is out of the game right now as well. So that means both tackles are out for Philly as they take a first down snap from the 45. And Ertz got hung up in there, and that was almost intercepted by Quentin Meeks.
And they are playing physical up front. Defense of Jacksonville, they're in the face of these guys, making sure they press them, give them a problem getting off the ball.
Right now, guys, they have 3 offensive linemen that did not start the game in the position they're playing, because Stefan Wisniewski's out there at guard. All right, they moved Isaac Seumalo over to left tackle for Jason Peters, and of course Vitai's at the right tackle. They've got 3 different guys that started this game.
He's in the tent right now, Jason Peters. 2nd and 10 now. Wentz steps up, throws to Ertz. Nice grab, nice pitch and catch. Moving inside Jacksonville territory to the 40.
And a great route by Ertz. I mean, just the timing of it. He knew he had time.
Deshaun Gibson is the guy that's trying to track him down and play him man-to-man a little bit. That's a tough job, because Ertz is going to get a lot of throws today.
And I talked about it, Coach, how they're up in the face trying to press him. He had a great release on him and just got a corner route. A great play.
Gain of 15. 1st and 10 from the 40 of Jacksonville now. Adams. It's a nice move. And a nice first down run.
What a nice jump cut by the rookie here. We have somebody else down on the field
for Jacksonville, and that is none other than Telvin Smith. He popped right back up and heading to the sideline.
We were with Telvin Smith yesterday now, and he's only 215 pounds at linebacker. Fast player, great player, but he's light.
And that's their concern, Jacksonville, is when teams run downhill between the tackles, as they say, we want to use our speed and chase people, but when they can come right at us is where we struggled, and we've seen that over this losing streak that they've had.
And that's why it's important for Jacksonville to play ahead. And make sure that the other team is throwing the ball, so those guys up front can just run to the quarterback and not worry about coming downhill.
The Eagles have 108 more total yards than Jacksonville right now, but the 2 turnovers means it's a 3-0 Jaguars lead. 2nd and 3. Wentz puts it out, and it's complete to Jeffrey. Right at the 20-yard line, first down, Philadelphia.
Well, he told us yesterday, Carson Wentz said, hey, I know Jalen Ramsey's a great player, but I'm going to throw it to Alshon Jeffrey if he's open. He did that right here. There's a nice release.
We joked about that because I said, you know, there were times when I had to line up against Deion Sanders and guys like that, and I wanted to make sure Troy understood, and Troy would always say, I'm not going away from my best guy because the other guy is their best guy.
That's odd that you would communicate to Troy to
every play
give you the football. Never heard that story before. 1st and 10 from the 20. Here's Aguilar. He's got it. Around the end. Still running. Aguilar with a first down run down at the 6-yard line.
I told you they like to move him around. That was a reverse motion, and they just handed him the ball. He's so great with the ball in his hands and making plays.
And one guy they miss is Darren Sproles, who's the guy they love to do this sort of stuff with. The jet sweeps, using him out of the backfield in those choice-type situations, as we saw Aguilar catch one earlier. But he's kind of taken that role of that change-of-pace guy.
Gain of 14. First and goal. On the 6.
So let's see. Hey, Brandon, let's see.
Clement dot in the eye. He's got it. Tripped up. Nice play. Right there by Dante Fowler.
And I tell you, if he didn't get in there, that was a lane to get to the end zone. That was a great play by Dante Fowler.
That's always the easiest way for an offense to the end zone, is to be able to run the football, because the windows to throw it get tighter and tighter, and where Jacksonville has struggled is giving up rushing touchdowns. But on the flip side, it's what Philadelphia has struggled with, is being able to run the football and get into the end zone.
11th play of this drive. Second and goal from the 6. No gain there. Wentz throwing it, moving to his left. And taken down. Big, huge sack by Calais Campbell.
Keep in mind now, you've got 2 new offensive tackles in this game, and you only suit up 7 or 8. The Eagles going to have 8. Chance Warmack is the only other lineman that's available in this game. And you know what? Sooner or later, those outside rushers are going to get home.
And what did Calais talked about why he picked the Jacksonville Jaguars? He said, because I get the opportunity to line up at defensive end against some of these tackles, and a great play there by that old UM graduate.
Assuming that was a cricket move right there. Loss of 7. So it's now 3rd and goal from the 13. Wentz ran out of time quickly, had to get rid of it. That was Dante Fowler Jr., who had that big 1st and goal tackle, applying the pressure.
Well, you see, he got rid of the ball as he was waiting on Zach Ertz to come open, but a great job at getting to the quarterback.
Peter Schrager.
Eagles fans wondering, Jason Peters leading with a head injury, questionable to return. Lane Johnson, it's a knee injury, questionable to return.
Boy, both tackles out. And it's a 31-yarder for Elliott. Jake Elliott ties the game at 3. So we're midway through 2nd quarter. Each team's got a field goal on the board. Back from Wembley in a moment.
This NFL Network special is delivered by Pizza Hut, official pizza sponsor of the NFL. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Okay, so the Eagles finally get on the board here today. It's their first drive that didn't end in a turnover. Again, their first ended in a fumble. And second with an interception. 13 plays, 64 yards, 7 and change to drive down the field inside the red zone, only to fail there. You can see there's the Eagles offensive line. The story of the day, Jason Kelsey. He went out for just a couple plays, but thankfully came back. Both tackles, Lane Johnson and Jason Peters, are questionable to return. DJ Chark decides not to return. So Blake Bortles will start from the 25, and look, he was a top draft choice, top 5 pick, and the Jaguars, as we all saw, tons of up and downs from him in the first 3 seasons. Last year, easily his best year as a pro, and then some regression the last 3 weeks.
And they're trying to figure out exactly who Blake Bortles is, because they've seen moments. I mean, took him to the AFC Championship game last year. Earlier this year, played great against the New England Patriots in that big win that they got. And then the last 3 weeks, he's just so inconsistent. It's hard to build a franchise around a guy that doesn't give you the same thing every time out.
He's only attempted 2 passes. He's completed both. So this is his 3rd attempt of the day, and he's just going to run it. And it turns into his 4th run of the day. Melissa Stark.
Yeah, Rich, well, Bortles told me he understands if he turns the ball over, makes mistakes, he's coming out. That Doug Marrone treats the quarterback position like all other positions on the field. He said, I know I'm the scapegoat for this team. Get blamed when we lose, don't get the credit when we win. And he tries not to look at social media. He deleted his Twitter account. His mom sends him articles every once in a while. He said, Mom, please don't. He showed me a text that she sent him. She said, you threw me under the bus, of course, with an article.
Deleted his account. Here's TJ Yeldon breaking a couple of tackles to get close to a third down. Bring up close to a first down, bringing up third and short. Jordan Hicks with the stop.
And it's interesting, Melissa says, Doug Marrone says, I treat the quarterback like every other position. You don't hear that very often in the league because it's so different, because only one guy can play that. You can't move a guy in and out. You have to have full confidence. The player playing has to have full confidence every time they're out there.
It was nice to hear Coach say that, Kurt, from all of us other guys on the field.
No, not at all, Michael.
3rd and 2. Bortles throws late, but it's complete to none other than Keelan Cole right there. Keelan Cole with a nice grab, bringing up a first down.
Just an under route right there.
And the Jags love to do this on 3rd down. They're going to have a combination out here to the left-hand side. He doesn't like it. He's always going to have a shallow coming across, and he feels very comfortable making that throw.
So Bortles with a first down throw right there. 1st and 10 from the 38. Bortles to a wide open receiver. DJ Chark over the middle. The rookie out of LSU brings Jacksonville into Philadelphia territory.
And this is the best part of Blake Bortles. We talk about the highs and the lows. We saw it in the first drive. He has the fumble, and he has the great runs. And now these are the highs in his passing games. Those are 2 great throws that he's made.
And timing, when he sees it and knows where he wants to go with the football, he's very good. It's when he hesitates that he has his struggles.
Gain of 19. Hyde, 1 cut. Short gain on first down. Ball's loose, but ruled down.
And you talk about the inconsistency, Kurt, of a Blake Bortles, 11 turnovers this year. That's the most, tied with Sam Darnold. But heck, this crowd right here in London has seen him play so well over here. Last year, these Jags beat the Ravens 44-7. He threw 4 touchdown passes, no picks. So he can do that. And right now, he seems pretty comfortable and confident.
And you talk about this team goes as he goes. The last 2 years, in their wins, he's had 23 touchdowns and just 6 interceptions. In their losses, 7 touchdowns to 15 interceptions.
Nearing 4.5 to go in the half. Bortles play faking. Jenkins tries to get him, and the rest of the Eagles do. Sacked. Jordan Hicks and Michael Bennett sharing on the bagging of Bortles right there.
Well, they blitzed that time, but this front 4 puts the most pressure on any quarterback with just a 4-man rush. This time, they added another blitzer here off the edge, right here, to add pressure right here, and they got home. But this front is good enough. They give you pressure most of the time with the front 4.
And it's tough. It was only a 2-man route. So oftentimes you do that. You keep everybody in to block, but there's a bunch of DBs on the back end. Nobody comes clean open, so he holds the football, leads to that sack.
I thought he could have got that ball to D.D. Westbrook in there if he had thrown it, like you talked about, on time and out fast. He could have got him on that square end.
Well, there's a flag on the
Play game, offense, number 5.
Yeah, deep in the secondary.
3rd down.
And a delay of game on Blake Bortles after the sack pushes the ball back into Jacksonville territory.
Well, that's the official that watches the game clock, and he went down to 0 as they were still trying to decide if they're going to huddle or not.
3rd and 22. What do you dial up here, Kurt?
There's not a lot of things in the playbook. You want one of those little gadget plays. You either see a shallow or maybe a screen here to try to get some back, maybe get into field goal range, or at least flip the field for your defense.
That was the delay of game there. All right, so now we're back live on 3rd and 22, and there is the screen to TJ Yeldon. Makes some moves to get back inside the 40. So it's possible Josh Lambo could reach, but instead the punt unit coming out here for Jacksonville.
Yeah, I love that play call because you got a front that's really trying to get to that quarterback, and against a good rush, a little screen pass, very well executed.
Well, actually, it is Lambo coming out. This is going to be a very long field goal. He's already made one from 51. Now here he is from 57, from the L of the NFL crest. Amidst Wembley, it's up, and he got it. Josh Lambo, 6. Jake Elliott, 3. That was from deep, and it's playable. Welcome back to Wembley. The Jaguar fans having a nice time here in Wembley. Up 6-3. Oh, I think the Joker is here.
Joker's here. You see everybody here.
All right.
In London.
Well, it is Halloween weekend here in London. It's Halloween right in the middle of the week. They've been celebrating all weekend long, as we have seen. All right, so Josh Lambo, fresh off of his career long of 57, kicking it off. And it will be a touchback. We'll be right back after this message from Verizon. All right, so John Hussey's
After
got
the play
something to
was
say.
over, unnecessary roughness, number 57 of the receiving team. That penalty will be enforced half the distance to the goal. First down.
Well, DJ Alexander with the rare unnecessary roughness penalty on a touchback. But that happened.
These guys were chippy even before the game started, Rich.
There he is right there. Let's see. I mean, he just decleated. Leon Jacobs. So call that unnecessary roughness because figured he wasn't going to take it out. Anyway, Wentz flips it out to Ertz. Needs to make something, and he gets just a couple of yards. Peter Schrager, take it away.
We got a new looking offensive line for the Eagles due to injury. Jason Peters out. Big V, Vaitai will move to left tackle. Wisniewski will be the left guard. Kelsey at center. And you've got Brandon Brooks at right guard, as he usually plays. And Isaac Seumalo will come in, and he will move to right tackle because earlier in the game, obviously, Lane Johnson had a knee injury. Eagles banged up, Rich.
That's some significant news right there as Carson Wentz has got a 2nd and 11. 2-minute warning approaching. Play change here. Clock winding down. Gets it off. And it's Smallwood. And that takes us to the 2-minute warning. And when we come back, the Eagles will have 3rd and long from its own 15. 6-3 Jacksonville at the 2-minute warning here in London. All right, coming up on the Lexus halftime report, Colleen Wolfe, Michael Robinson, and Mike Garafolo. Giving a recap of what we've seen as a field goal battle right now and the rest of the Week 8 games. Includes the undefeated Rams taking on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers in the spot where Aaron played on the road in college. He was with Cal in the LA Coliseum. 3rd and 8 now for Wentz. Wentz escaping trouble, flips it, and it is incomplete. Quentin Meeks almost picked it off. And that was Jordan Matthews he was looking for. That was a dangerous floater right there.
Well, on 3rd and long, here comes the pressure. You'll see the blitz coming now. And Quentin Meeks, the rookie who's starting from Stanford here, almost gets his interception, undercutting that throw. Wow, that would have been the 3rd takeaway.
And we've seen him make so many big plays in those situations, but sometimes you got to understand when a play is over and don't try to make that big throw. That could have been extremely costly.
Cameron Johnson with the boot. And here's the return by Rashad Green for a couple of yards. So Jacksonville with 1:44 to go with some quality field position when we return.
This NFL Network special is brought to you by Expedia. Everything you need to go.
Well, you know, with the 4-man booth that we work in here, guys, the last thing I prepared to correct myself on was on identifying the wrong Batman villain that somebody was wearing a costume of in the crowd. It's the Riddler.
I got to check since it's the same thing. It was the Riddler.
The Riddler. I'll apologize to all Frank Gorshin fans out there. Yeah, I went old school Batman. Bortles first down, tipped and incomplete.
Well, they're bringing the pressure too.
This is a great opportunity here for Jacksonville. I used to love this when I was playing because this is a chance to get a 2-4, right? You got 1:40 left. If you can drive down and get points here, knowing you're going to get the ball out of the half as well, you love to be in this situation if you were receiving in the second half.
The Patriots are high quality at doing that. Score before and after halftime. The Jaguars deferred the opening kickoff, so they do get the ball first. But first, they got to do something here, and they do on this play, and the ball's loose. And it's picked up by Malcolm Jenkins. And that is ruled a catch and a fumble. Keelan Cole with the catch, and he put the ball on the turf. That is a big takeaway by the Eagles defense. Catch, move, fumble. That is a turnover. When we come back, we'll see what the Philadelphia Eagles can do with it. All right, the Eagles offense is out there, Dean Blandino. What did you see, sir?
You know, I like this as a catch and fumble. Control, 2 feet, turns upfield, football move. This is a catch, and I don't know why you're coming to me because Rich Eisen is the world's premier expert.
Oh boy, don't tell him
Yes,
that,
sir.
Dean.
I am.
And he had this cold.
I did. Nailed it.
You just
Nailed
added
it.
fuel to that fire,
Thank
Dean.
you. I should have been on the catch committee. Let's all be honest.
Oh boy.
So that is a turnover. First of the day for Jacksonville, and Philadelphia starts from the Jaguars 44. Minute 29 to go, and all 3 timeouts in Wentz's back pocket. Wentz rolling out to his right, throwing on the run. Aguilar just out of his hands. Just beyond Nelson Aguilar.
You got to run what we call a pylon route, which is a deep corner route. He's going to stick it, and he aims for that back pylon. No matter where you are on the field, aim for the back pylon. You get the corner to squat a little bit. He has him, but this is a tough throw to make on the run when you're throwing it that far and just outside of his reach.
Brings up 2nd and 10. Minute 23 to go in the half. 6-3 Jacksonville. The give is to Clement. Calais Campbell has had a heck of a half. A tackle for loss. Again, as you mentioned, Campbell's the one who called the players-only meeting on Monday after there was some shouting in the Jacksonville locker room after their 3rd straight loss.
Well, Rich, Campbell would tell you, as I spoke to him, he said actually the captains of that team called the meetings. You know, they have a captains group. They get together and make decisions for the whole team. So they called the meeting.
3rd and 11. Clock running. Wentz steps up, keeping it. Looking for the first, makes a move, and he's got it. And Doug Peterson quickly calls for time.
Rich,
Well, that was excellent. That's what Carson Wentz gives you now. He can throw it. He can throw it on the run. He's a tough guy, and he can go make the hard yards with his legs.
one of the things you talked about, Rich, when you talked to Carson Wentz, you asked how much of that head first diving he will do. He told you, he said, I'm all the way back. I don't even think about those things. I play the game on the field as I see it. And right there, it was important to get that first down.
You always talk, Rich. What kind of plays do you have when you get into these 3rd and 11 type situations? It's extremely tough to design a lot of stuff, Coach, for those big plays down the field. But Carson Wentz has been so good at extending plays, whether it be with his legs to make a throw or just his legs to make a big run like that.
Gain of 12 right there for number 11. From the 32 with 38 seconds to go. Now 2 timeouts remain. Wentz to his right. Stops, throws. For Dallas Goedert, the rookie tight end, scores. Touchdown, Philadelphia. Six pending the extra point.
But this is one of those great plays where it's designed to roll out to the right-hand side, and you bring Dallas Goedert or your tight end down to the weak side. So you get everybody moving, and then he runs a wheel route backside. Nice throw, Carson Wentz. Big throw to the backside, and a good job by Goddard getting the ball in the end zone.
And the extra point is good. It fluttered through. 10-6 Philadelphia as the Eagles turn that big turnover into 7 points. Oh yeah, a little bit of slow-mo. Kickers deserve slow-mo too. And he is through.
Never a doubt.
Snuck it through the right upright. So 4 plays, 44 yards, and we have our first pay dirt of the day. And that does leave 29 seconds left for Jacksonville. They do have all 3 timeouts left.
A touchdown pass from North Dakota State to South Dakota State.
The Dakotas well represented here in the UK. And for a team like Jacksonville that's down to a practice squad tight end and a kid in Blake Bell who was taken off of the couch a couple of weeks ago, the Eagles have an embarrassment of riches at that position. Jay Chark decides to take it out, makes a move, cuts up, and all just for the same amount of yards as he would have had just taken a knee, and there's more pushing and shoving. John Hussey gets in the middle of it. And you could see 2, 3, and 4 teams. There's a win out on that pitch today, and it's got to be had. 3 and 4 versus 3 and 4. Super Bowl champs against a team they almost played in it. 24 seconds to go in the half.
So now do you put it in number 5's hands and give him a shot to score points?
Well, it didn't happen in the AFC Championship game, so I don't know if it's going to happen here, to be very honest. But they're putting in the hands of number 5, who is taken down by Chris Long again. Does appear to have gotten a little bit of yardage right there.
Let it go.
Which means it's not officially a sack. And Bortles is strolling off the field. And that should wrap up the first half. All right, so we saw a bunch of field goals until just a few seconds ago. And that's the end of the first half with a score: Philadelphia 10, Jacksonville 6. Stay tuned for the Lexus halftime report. But right now, here's a quick message from Lexus. All right, welcome back inside Wembley. Eagles scoring last, and they're up 10-6. The Jaguars with 2 crucial takeaways. Without them, who knows where they'd be right now, because they are being outpossessed. They're being outgained by the Eagles. What do you think about the first half and what needs to happen?
Well, I tell you what, I thought the Jags played the kind of game they wanted to. A slugfest early on. It was that last sequence of events with the fumble and then giving up the touchdown. And now they find themselves where they didn't want to be, guys, playing from behind. Pressure back on Blake Bortles to have to make plays to get points on the board.
Well, the Jags have to be happy with a couple of takeaways. They only had 5 all season coming into this game, but the thing that I'm concerned about is the Eagles' offensive line. They're both tackles, Jason Peters and Lane Johnson, are out, and you got a guard playing at right tackle, and you got backed up all over the place. So that's why they're rolling out Carson Wentz. He's on the move quite a bit with a lot of their movement and keep game.
And talking to both of these coaching staffs, they talked about 2 things. They said we need turnovers, we need to do better in the red zone. Both teams have gotten turnovers, but only the Philadelphia Eagles scored touchdowns in the red zone, and that's the difference in this game tonight.
Yeah, and only the Eagles have scored touchdowns off of the takeaways. As you could see, the 2 Jaguar takeaways leading to only a field goal, as DJ Chark is back to receive the opening kickoff. The Jaguars won the toss and elected to defer, and that's coming in handy right now. And as Elliott kicks it off, kicks it deep, and Chark just takes a knee. Melissa Stark, take it away.
Rich, I talked to Doug Marrone at halftime. He said offensively, he wants better pass protection and better play. Michael was just talking about it in the red zone. Blake Bortles sacked 2 times. I asked specifically about Bortles, who was, of course, benched last week in the 3rd quarter. He said it's not just about one guy. We all have to step it up. Defensively, he loves the fire, the intensity with those 2 takeaways. He said we gave him one, though, with that fumble, the Eagles, and they capitalized.
So here is the first possession of the second half. Bortles just 6 of 7 first half. Here is Carlos Hyde with a spin. It's Carlos Hyde. It's only 6th carry on the day. Peter Schrager.
Rich, the Eagles are now in familiar territory. They've been in the lead at halftime several times this season. Last week, of course, they gave up a 17-point lead. Doug Peterson told me 30 minutes left. Let's do what we do. One great piece of news. Jason Peters is back for the second half. He's been ruled and cleared to play. He will be starting when the offense comes on the field.
That is good news. Lane Johnson, however, is still down here. 2nd and 7. Bortles, lots of time, flips it up in the air, and it is complete. Caught by Dante Moncrief. Dexter McDougal with the coverage.
We talk about it all the time, and Blake Bortles getting the ball out of his hand. He had the receiver wide open in the flats right away. He held on to it, and that was the right decision this time to hold on to it to get Moncrief up the field.
Well, I'm not sure it was the right decision, but it worked out for him.
time.
To me, you got to take the first one, take the open guy, but it was a nice throw to the outside and a nice job going down and getting it by Moncrief.
Jalen Mills is down right now. He's down about 10 yards behind the play. So we'll be back from London with the Jaguars in Eagles territory.
This NFL Network special is brought to you by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network.
Okay, so Jalen Mills carted off as it was a non-contact injury to what appeared to be a lower leg. So here is Bortles, 1st and 10, steps up. He's looking again for Moncrief, incomplete. Rasul Douglas, who just came into the game for the injured Mills, on the coverage.
Well, that's what they see up in the box. They say, all right, Jalen Mills is out. We got a second-year player over there that doesn't play much at corner. Let's take a shot and see what he's made of.
And Coach, we were talking to Howie Roseman before the game, and he was just talking about how different a year is, especially when it comes to injuries. Both these teams playing in championship games, Super Bowl last year, find themselves very injury-prone this year.
First possession of the second half. 10-6 Philly. Bortles 2nd and 10. Quick throw, and it's dropped. It hit the hands of Keelan Cole, incomplete. All right, so just a few days. Week 9 is going to be, can you believe Week 9? It's a Bay Area battle, which means Mooch gets to sleep in his own bed for Thursday Night Football, San Francisco and Oakland.
We'll all be there, Rich. You coming?
No, I'll be watching, Steve, on NFL Network, Fox, or streaming.
Are we all sleeping in your bed too, Mooch?
Fine, everybody's
got a room for us?
Party at Mooch's house. 3rd and 10. From the Philly 48, Bortles thrown again. And he, just before he's taken down, flips it in the air dangerously, but it is incomplete.
And this is what Nathaniel Hackett talked about all week, is that you got to know when a play is over. And you see here, 3rd and 10, you got to hold the football a little bit, and there's bodies that come all around you. Blake Bortles tries to make a guy miss and then make a throw right here. Man, could have been tipped, intercepted. That was they got lucky that that one hit the ground there, but that's been the problem with Blake Bortles.
So here's the punt. And it drops, and it looks like takes a nice roll for Jacksonville. So Wentz is going to be pinned back at his own 5 when we come back. Eagles up by 4. Okay, welcome back. Oh, yeah, a little Queen. Very Sherlock-type montage of sights and scenes in London. But you haven't seen Sherlock on BBC, have you?
Not yet.
Okay, you should watch it.
Okay,
very good. So the Eagles have the ball for the first time in the second half. They start, however, from their own 5. Up by 4. Scored on a beautiful throw from Wentz to Goddard at the end of the first half. First play is a give, however. Adams for hardly a gain.
Matt, let's go back and look at that great play design on this touchdown. We're going to roll Carson Wentz out this way. Alshon Jeffrey, we're going to have him run a take 2, meaning he's going to take the corner and the safety here. And we've got Goddard down on the inside, and you see him sneaking back as we get the whole defense and the speed of that Jacksonville defense to move to the right. And we're going to throw it back to Goddard on the left, and a nice job making a guy miss and getting into the end zone. But love the play design off of the rollout, which Carson Wentz does so well.
Adams with a 1-yard first down gain. So it's 2nd and 9. Wentz still has it. Trying, nice duck and throw, but it's incomplete. Wow, it looked like Campbell's looking at him saying, "What are you doing?"
Get away with that.
Oh, that's funny.
Wow.
Each other.
We were just talking about Blake Bortles knowing when a play's over, but sometimes when you have a guy like number 11, I don't know if the play's ever over to be able to duck under that, and we've seen him make those big plays over and over again.
Wow.
Calais Campbell's pretty tall now.
He is.
You can duck under him. Maybe not duck under a lot of guys like that.
That reminds me so much of the old Brett Favre and Warren Sapp battles and the fun they had going at each other.
Yannick Ngakoue still did hit him hard. 3rd and 9.
75. Hey, solid.
Timeout.
74.
Play clock was winding down, so Wentz wants to talk it over here. So let's take a look. Steve, this is from the Mariucci photo collection.
Well, this could be the the coaching tree, right? We got Jim McMahon over here. That's when I was coaching Favre over there. But look at all these other guys. Ty Dittmer, he was a coach at BYU for a while. Mike McCoy. Is that Doug Peterson? He was a backup quarterback for us. Now he's the head coach of a Super Bowl winning team. Doug Peterson. Marty Morningwig was also a head coach.
Hey, Rich, you know what year that was? That was 1995.
95.
If Mooch had not cut me in 94, I would have been in that picture as well.
Well, you know, you should have been. We should have photoshopped you in there because you are coaching your high school team.
Nice. Not pictured Kurt Warner. All right, 3rd and 9 now. We'll see if that burnt timeout comes home to roost a little bit later. For the moment, 3rd and 9. Wentz, quick throw. Grabbed by Alshon Jeffrey. Marked by Jalen Ramsey. First down.
And just a good job by Alshon getting inside on that slant route, and he made a wonderful throw here.
And once again, another 3rd and long. This is where they were so good and what really separated them last year. You're going to see they fake the pressure here. Carson doesn't panic. A nice slant throw away from Jalen Ramsey, and the big body able to get the first down.
So Alshon took his time before he made that slant in. A lot of receivers, they go in too early and give that DB time to come and knock that ball down.
3 catches for 31 yards now for Jeffrey, as Ramsey is eyeing wherever he goes today. Wentz to Jeffrey. Didn't look like he was expecting it, but it is a nice pickup on first down. Did that look the same?
Yeah, he had a little smoke right out here, and so the inside guy was running deeper, but it was so soft that Carson said, I just throw it to you in the flat, get some yards after the catch.
And you got to look for those opportunities when Jalen Ramsey is not playing press coverage. When he's off, if you can get it to your big playmaker, get it to him as quick as you can and take whatever is up underneath him.
2nd and 6. Consecutive catches by Jeffrey. Nice gain up the gut and still running. It's Adams, shoved out of bounds by Ramsey. What a huge hole. Gain of 21.
Here you see it once again, guys. Eagles have been struggling to run the football, but if you're going to run it against Jacksonville, run it downhill between the tackles and take advantage of those lighter linebackers they have. Huge hole right there. Anybody could have ran through that.
Well, I don't know about anybody.
Well, you could have, but
it starts off to the left. It bends back all the way over here to the right side. Great cutoff blocks by the right side of the offensive line. Nice play by the Golden Domer.
Ties the longest run the Eagles have had all season. 6 rushes, 39 yards for Adams now. First down. Wentz throwing. He flips it out to Adams. And it's a nice pickup on first down right around midfield.
And you know what people miss? Like even that throw there by Wentz, how that ball was out in front of Adams so he can catch it and get those extra yards and pick up a nice little game.
Bill Walsh used to say, throw that swing 1 foot in front of the numbers so he doesn't have to break stride. You gain more yards if it's an accurate throw like that.
Saying it, coach, and doing it are two different things. You can say it, but that's a hard throw right there that kid just made.
So now it's Clement behind Wentz. 3 wides. And it's Clement running straight forward. And brings up 3rd and about 3 here.
It's really where they've been good all day long is extending drives on these third down. Found themselves in third down a lot today, but they've been able to pick them up. Carson Wentz done a nice job on a couple of them extending plays. But you like to be in this 3rd and 2 spot here, Coach, because it really opens up the playbook. There's a lot of things you can do here.
You see some bump and run, tight coverage in here.
They've made 6 of 8 on third down. We'll do the math for you. We always will try. 75% of third downs, the Eagles have moved the chains. Play fake. Wentz running to his right, stopping, throwing left, and it's grabbed out of the air by Matthews.
You saw those plays all last year by Carson Wentz. to buy time like that and then make that throw, it's an incredible job.
Buying time starts with the protection here. Look at this banged up offensive line now. They're protecting him where he can throw all the way back to Jordan Matthews. He's only got 6 catches all year, but he came up big right here.
Gain of 13. Now 77% on third down. That's a quality number. Number 36 of Jacksonville. Wentz flips that one out to Smallwood with tons of room in front of him. He still hasn't been touched. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Eagles. .36 yards.
And it was just the perfect play call because you're going to see pressure coming from this side. And they just flip it back to the other side, away from the pressure. Defense is moving to the right. They throw it back to the left. Great play call, perfect timing.
17-6 Philadelphia midway through the third quarter. So the Jaguars were hoping to score before and after halftime, and the Eagles did instead.
All right, we're back here in Wembley, 17-6. We're going to take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles touchdown play. The Jags are going to bring pressure from this side, man-to-man coverage with Telvin Smith right here, Coach.
Yeah, and this screen's blocked beautifully because Jason Peters back in the game. He sets, and watch the guard and the center both get out here nicely and block Telvin Smith, who's responsible for coverage on Smallwood.
And look at this right here. That's the second-year guy out of West Virginia, Sheldon Gibson. He's saying, I got the all-pro on me. And who says receivers don't block? Great job by Gibson right there.
Ah, Deuce loving it.
Deuce.
Running back crew right there, and it capped a 9-play, 95-yard drive, second longest of the year for the Eagles. They had a 97-yarder in week 4. And Chark being told to get down, and he does. Blake Bortles, it's, as you could check on this the statistic as you see here, next-gen stat, that Blake Bortles, he's really good when he gets it out of his hands, but when it's time to think about it, does not usually result in a quality play. So it's time for Blake Bortles to come up with some quick throws and to figure out how to move this ball down the field. It's 17-6 now, 2-score game. Bortles steps up and he fires to Moncrief, who's got some first down and more. So a very good start to this crucial drive for Jacksonville midway through the third quarter.
And back to your point, when he gets the ball out of his hands quick, right? When he's throwing those underneath type routes, and again, the shallow route is one of his favorite routes. See it, it comes open in front of him. Simple read for him. Does a nice job of putting that out in front. So there's a good run after catch.
Gain of 19. Moncrief leads the Jaguars so far in receiving with 43 yards. Bortles thrown again, stepping up again, and he throws across the middle to his tight end, David Greenidge, who again was called up from the practice squad in week 6. Austin Safarian-Jenkins is on IR to return with core muscle surgery. So he was the guy that they were hoping to take over for Mercedes Lewis, who had been here for so long with the Jaguars. Nice gain of 8 on first down. Clock moving. Bortles slinging it quick, incomplete. That looked bad from the get-go.
That was an interesting blitz because they showed a blitz inside and then they bluffed out of it. I think Blake Bortles got a little bit A little bit worried about where that protection might be coming from in that blitz. Got the ball out, no big deal. 3rd down and short. Real important down for this drive.
And Rich, you were talking about the different tight ends and the mixing parts that they've had, and talking to Nathaniel Hackett before. I'm like, how do you game plan with all these new pieces? And he just kind of looked back at me and he said, exactly. How do you do that? It's tough to do when you've got new guys every week.
3rd and 2. Bortles got an open. Greenwich grabbing it out of the air. Big first down for Jacksonville.
And that's one of those times, Kirk, because he looked like he wanted to keep the ball out of his hands quickly. He held on to it, and Greenwich came open on the backside.
You see him going through the progression, right? Going to drop back. He's going to look actually to his right first, and now he's working across what you used to call spacing, Coach. Nobody open, gets all the way to his 4th receiver on the backside with a nice touch throw up over the top.
Just when we say when he has too much time. look at that. He connects with the former practice squatter. 1st and 10. Bortles throwing again over the middle. Nice first down pickup right there to DJ Chark.
And these routes are run against man, sit down against zone. That was a 3-deep zone, and these are easy completions now. You can hit hands easy on these underneath the coverage.
It's great for getting the confidence up of the quarterback, but also keeping the chain moving.
In the red zone on a crucial possession here. It's a 2-score game. Philadelphia scored at the end of the half before the halftime of the turnover. Scored here to begin the 2nd half. Here's a give to Yeldon. And it looks like he picked up the first down here.
You can hear the audio there. Blake Bortles went kill, kill, kill. He had 4 wide receivers off to the left, and that kill means they called plays in the huddle. They've got 1 play called. They're going to go up and run. If he sees a particular look, it's a kill, kill, kill. They changed to play number 2, and obviously it was a little run inside.
And it is a first down on a gain of 4.
And they don't want to settle for a field goal in this drive. They got to get a touchdown here. They want too many field goals already.
Carlos Hyde is back in the game. And Bortles is just going to call a timeout. Just when they were in rhythm and moving and matriculating. Timeout necessary. Weekdays on NFL Network. Check out what critics have called the best morning show on sports television. Kay Adams, Nate Burleson, Peter Schrager, Kyle Brandt for Good Morning Football. Weekdays at 7 a.m. Eastern, only on NFL Network. We're celebrating our 15th anniversary on a week from today. NFL Network turns 15.
This is a good way to do it.
I
right?
know. Yeah, for all those people
of us to be in the booth.
You'd never call a game in the first 15 years of NFL Network. Guess what? We got it in under the gun by a week. So here we are. With Blake Bortles out of that timeout. So they come up with, steps up in the pocket, throws to the end zone. Oh, had Greenwich open, but a little too high for the 6'5" tight end.
And you're going to see him. He does a nice job of working over the top of these linebackers, but one of the toughest throws for a quarterback is to get it up and down. He's got to get it up over the linebackers and drop it in before the back of the end zone. Just a little too much mustard on that one.
And that's why they're 29th in the red zone in the NFL right now, because he can't get the ball up and down.
Trying again on 2nd and 10 from 16. 14. Bortles stepping up, now rolling up to his right. And flips it out to Moncrief for a modest gain on 2nd down. He's up 3rd and about 6, 7.
And you talk about decision making, when to stay in the pocket, who to throw it to, and also when to leave the pocket, Kurt. And that time he went out the front door and he made a good play. Not a lot of yards, but that was a smart thing to do.
But as you said, Michael, so vital right here. Both of these teams struggling to get the ball in the end zone. You can't continue to settle for field goals.
Bortles barking out the play. Play clock winding down at 5. 3rd and 7 from the 11. Bortles pump faking, end zone wide open, touchdown Jacksonville. D.D. Westbrook. A little bit extra on top of it. Steve, you asked Bortles who his go-to guy was on third down.
And he said D.D. Westbrook without hesitating. And here he goes. He's got the ball. Both feet seem to be down. That's a touchdown. Right?
And watch what he does here. Just a little double move. I love this call. Know that it's a blitz here. Down in the red zone. He's going to jump the first thing he sees. Malcolm Jenkins jumps it. And that time, it was a nice throw. Up and over.
Right. As soon as you say he doesn't do it well, he shows you he does it well.
And Steve, what does the chart say, as we like to ask you?
Let's go for it, too.
That's what they're doing here. It's confirmed, and Bortles and the offense still out there in a 17-12 contest right now.
That was huge.
11-yard score. Can they put the 2 points on top? Bortles to Westbrook, and that one is broken up. Broken up by Rasul Douglas. So the Jaguars finally get in the end zone, but they're down by 5 in London.
This NFL Network special is brought to you by the Lexus RX, featuring pre-collision system with pedestrian detection standard.
So, what do you think of that decision to go for 2, Kurt?
I tell you what, I always wonder what the right timing is. And I know you mentioned to Coach, you've got the chart. Coach, when does that chart go into effect? Is 4 minutes and 33 seconds left in the third too early to go to the chart?
Not necessarily. Most coaches, guys, will use the chart in the fourth quarter. All right, you don't want to see it until the fourth quarter. But in this case, hey, they said, we haven't scored a lot of touchdowns in the last 3 games. So we're down here. Let's make this a field goal type difference in this game. Let's go for it. It's only 4 minutes left in the third quarter, so I think it was good. Each coach has got to have a feel for it, but this is a low-scoring game, so I think he was down there. He's got the touchdown. Let's go for 2.
Well, I guess it's in the eye of the coaching beholder, because the folks here at Wembley last week saw a coach go for 2 instead of kicking an extra point to try and force overtime. And Mike Vrabel, that's the way the game ended here last week between the Titans and the Chargers. And now we just saw a 2-point conversion fail. Jacksonville still has not converted on a 2-point conversion this year. They're now 0 for 2. So let's see how Carson Wentz responds. Down up by 5, and the first down throw to Smallwood is incomplete. 2nd and 10.
And a big drive right here. We all know momentum is such a huge thing in the NFL, and it can quickly swing from one side to another. The Eagles get it there at the end of the first half. Jacksonville, nice job of driving down, putting points on the board to gain that momentum back. Now it's up to Philly again to see how they respond.
Carson Wentz, 226 yards passing already in this game. As he goes under center and 2nd and 10. Mahomes handed off to Smallwood in a very Smallwood game. As that is Avery Jones who laid the wood right there.
So just talked about Philly's been pretty good this day on third down conversion. This is a big third down as we talk momentum in this game. Did Jacksonville take it back? We will see.
Quentin Meeks is slow to get up.
He's their 3rd corner on that left side as it is. Boy, I don't know who plays corner if he's hurt. A.J. Boye's out. Tyler Patman's out. Quentin Meeks started as a rookie. Now he's down.
And that's part of the reason, or if not the main reason, why the Jaguars did not discipline any of the defensive backs who were involved in the apparent non-payment of a bill over the weekend. They need somebody to play.
Yeah, you see right there, Dallas Goedert going down low, catching, I think it's a right knee of Quentin Meeks right there, which I take a look at.
I mean, again, speaking to the Jaguars staff, Tom Coughlin was asked by one of the members of the staff, I think it was Nathaniel Hackett, who mentioned something along the lines of, have you ever seen anything like this in terms of your career, in terms of injuries? He said he had not. Called it an abominable situation. We'll be right back after this message from Gatorade. So D. Delaney, who
it wasn't even on our charts.
So far down the depth chart, he wasn't even on any of our charts. Out of the U, has come on the field now.
You know it, Mike.
And it's a huge third down.
Here he is down here.
Let's see
if they test him.
Right.
Almost in harmony right there. 3rd and 9. It's a free runner right on Wentz. Miles Jack right up the gut. And it's a 3-and-out.
That's how you help a new corner out. You put pressure on the quarterback. Don't give him a chance to throw it. Miles Jack from UCLA used to be a running back.
Yeah, that's a free runner right there.
And so often when you bring your linebackers up in the A-gaps, which mean right next to the center, it forces a slide by that center to choose one side or the other. He chose the left, should have chosen the right-hand side. And Jack comes in free.
For a loss of 11. Punt is away. Beautiful punt. Fielded by Westbrook, making a move. Trying to get upfield, and to the sideline he does. He would point it out. He pointed out none other than Cameron Johnston. Did he point it? Are you allowed to point at a punter? A 60-yard punt. A net of 23. He might have done what we all did, which was outkick the coverage.
Look at that. He's one of 4 Australian punters in the National Football League.
I think he was just saying, hey, kickers are people too, Rich. I just wanted you to know. I just want you to know. Kickers are people too.
I don't believe that's what he was doing. But nonetheless, great field position for Jacksonville. Bortles over the middle, moving the chains. Ball is loose. It's being called a catch by Rashad Green. Might have been premature to move the chains. It's a gain of 9.
You see, they came right back to just, hey, right, let's get the ball out of his hands quickly. Let's hook up right in the middle of the football field. Blake, just hit the receiver. Let's keep moving this football down the field.
Philly's playing a lot of zone, so let's just keep attacking it and putting ourselves in second and third and short situations.
Third quarter, they come out of the locker room a totally different offensive unit. 111 yards this quarter alone. Bortles, that was over before it began. Jordan Hicks with the sack.
Looked just like it was a mistake by Josh Walker at the left tackle, that he should have been sliding out. The guy was on the end of the line of scrimmage the entire time. Walker, for some reason, steps down there at the end. He allows him to come free. Easy sack for the Eagles.
Making it 3rd and long now. 3rd and 8 to be exact, right around midfield. Less than 2 minutes to go now in this 3rd quarter. Bortles having time, taking it off himself, and he leaps for the first down. Blake Bortles moving the chains. First down, Jacksonville. Gain of 8.
It's the other side when you blitz a guy like Blake Bortles that can run.
And he went up and changed protection, and he said the center to go to the right A-gap, and the running back came up, blocked the guy on the left, decided to get out of there. Wasn't anybody open. First down. This guy, over the last few years, he has 15 yards, 100 yards passing and rushing, right up there with Cam Newton.
Here's Bortles over the middle.
That's one of those routes where you should sit down.
Beautiful hit by Ronald Darby on DJ Chark.
It's the first thing they teach you when you get into the NFL. They say at this level, when it's zone, you sit or you will not be here long.
What I was saying about Blake, only Russell Wilson and Cam Newton have a lot of passing yards and rushing yards. Blake Bortles is another one of those kind of guys. He's been using his legs quite a bit today.
Nice hit. Helmet to the side, shoulder to the body. 2nd and 6. Flips it out to TJ Yeldon, tries to make a move, and he does get a first down.
And although Yeldon isn't like a Leonard Fournette in the way he runs the football, he gives them an added dimension on the outside. Came into the game with 30 catches and really become a weapon for Blake Bortles on some of those short throws.
Especially in the passing game. And that was a big, big conversion right there after the situation they had early.
So that's it for quarter number 3. When we come back in the 4th quarter, Jacksonville is moving. Down 17-12 here in Wembley. We've hit the 4th quarter here in Wembley, and the Eagles have a 5-point lead going into the 4th quarter. Last week, as we all know, the Eagles blew their first 17-point 4th quarter lead in a dozen years as Carolina came back, putting Philadelphia in a dicey scenario this week. Both teams 3-4. Blake Bortles flipping it. That was a play that was blown up. And he knew when to leave the play there. Incomplete. 2nd and 10. There's a flag down. The flag down as we check on the flag. Remind you to watch Game Day Prime when all the games are over. Carissa Thompson, Prime, Shannon Sharp, and LT on NFL Game Day Prime tonight at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time on NFL Network. And Fox. 2 flags are down right around the line of scrimmage, one on each side of the field. Here's John Hussey.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both by the offense. Ineligible, downfield, number 60. That penalty will be declined. Pass interference, offense, number 10. That 10-yard penalty will be enforced from the previous spot. First down.
Boy, Jackson would love to call a mulligan on the first play of the 4th quarter.
Yeah, I tell you what, it was a run pass option, and usually with those run pass options, if you're going to throw it, you've got to throw it quick. And Blake Bortles decided he was going to keep it, but then he strung the thing out and threw it late. And every time you do that, Coach, there's going to be a man downfield.
Yeah, there is. And then this is the area of the field that you just don't want to have a sack or a penalty, because you go from field goal range to out of field goal range real quickly. They got to get back in there.
Josh Lambo has a 57-yarder already, but obviously he'd love to improve that position. Bortles flips it over. That's Blake Bell making a play. Guy known as the Belldozer in Oklahoma. He was signed just 11 days ago by this team.
But we heard a great story that he showed up at walkthrough, and Jeremy Parnell, who's the right tackle, was lined up next to him and just looked over at him and said, who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you?
I'm Belldozer.
So now 1st and 20 becomes 2nd and 7. That was a nice pickup of 13 from the 27 of Philadelphia. Bortles flipping it over the middle. Nice pickup. First down grab by Chark.
You start to wonder if you could just throw a shallow route every single play and have a completion. They've thrown it over and over again on these last couple drives. We're going to clear out everything to the left, and then I'm just going to buy a little time and dump it to the underneath route. And man, he just slips going around the corner, or who knows how far he goes, Michael.
He goes, boy, that was
Dexter McDougal's trip
around that corner.
The turf monster got him. Otherwise, he might still be running.
Watch him.
So it's 1st and 10 from the 15. Bortles pump fake and throws over the middle, incomplete. Intended for D.D. Westbrook. That was McDougal on the coverage.
I'll tell you what, guys, we've talked about a lot of the injuries, especially up front for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but they're doing a great job of protecting Blake Bortles tonight. And that was the issue with the Eagles last week in the 4th quarter. We talked about the epic collapse. They got no sacks on Cam Newton in a 4th quarter where he had to throw it the entire time.
2nd and 10 from the 15. Bortles down 5. Going to the end zone. It's Westbrook, but it's broken up. Broken up on the play by Malcolm Jenkins.
What a great play.
It was a great play by Malcolm Jenkins, and a late throw, a little bit late throwing that football, or that would have been touchdown by Blake Bortles.
And you mentioned that when he throws it late, Michael, he's got to throw it lower and drive the football. If you get that out early, now you can do what we talked about before, up and over, and you get a better angle to get it over the top of the defensive back.
Big 3rd down play here. Jaguars 5 of 9, 56% on 3rd downs. 10th play of this drive. Bortles rolling to his left, going against the grain of Greenwich, incomplete. Bring it up 4th down, and out comes Lambo. They will have to settle for 3. Melissa Stark, take it away.
Yeah, well, Rich, Jags kicker Josh Lambo was like a little kid when I talked to him pregame. Said it's a dream come true to play here because he grew up a soccer player, played MLS all over Europe, but had never played at Wembley. The key is he knows this grass, knew exactly what cleats to wear. Just said to me, for the record, the footwear is making a difference.
He's made 2 50-yarders today, a 51 and a 57. This is a late player running in on special teams for the blocking unit, but 3 seconds to go here. Does get it off. Looks good. Oh, it was a little bit dicey there, but they were able to split the uprights. 2-point game here in London. Eagles up by 2.
This NFL Network special is brought to you by Bud Light, enjoyed by Giant Blue fictional knights everywhere. And by KFC's new 10-piece chicken feast.
Well, boys, we're having fun here calling this game, but next Sunday we turn back into a pumpkin. We're back in the NFL Game Day morning studios,
We're probably
which we
going
love
to end up
doing.
dressing up like a pumpkin as well.
That's right.
One of us.
Right, exactly.
We love doing it. We love doing it. So we'll be back in the NFL Game Day morning studio to get you ready for Week 9. My word.
We will be a pumpkin.
Okay. Here's the kick. And right on cue, here we go. There's a promo for it. There you guys are. There's Mooch, Irv. There's me looking interested in whatever Steve is saying, even though I'm really not. Did I just give up the ghost?
You do it really well, though, Rich.
1 a.m. Eastern time. We'll be there for. But right now we're excited. We got a 2-point game in the fourth quarter. 2-point game in the fourth quarter. The Philadelphia Eagles up by 2. Carson Wentz on his 25-yard line. 13 minutes and change to go here. Wentz. All sorts of time. Goes vertical for Jordan Matthews. Flag on the play.
That was.
Irv.
I believe this play will be good. That was pass interference on the defense because he was holding Jordan Matthews as he went by him. But a great play, great route, great throw.
Pass interference. Defense number 41. That penalty is declined. Result of the play. First down.
36-yarder right there.
And that's Trey Herndon now, the rookie from Vanderbilt, that's having to play quite a bit because of all the injuries.
And it all started with protection right there as well. Carson Wentz wanted to go to his right, peeked over there, saw a couple guys, nobody open, worked all the way back to his left, makes a nice throw down the field.
Yeah, that was Vandy on Vandy violence right there with Jordan Matthews. Big gain right there. 44 yards receiving. Wentz throwing again. Now he's trying to get out of the pocket. He does. He's got a lot of room in front of him. Oh, he just dives for the first down. Just when you thought he might try to run out of bounds.
This particular play, it's one of their favorites. They have Zach Ertz working the left-hand side, and he runs a little out, and then he runs up. So you're trying to get the double move here. Good coverage by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Nobody open. Nice job slipping up through there, and you see that speed and athleticism once again, diving for that first down.
Well, he marked him just a bit shy. It's second and call it a short one. Under 12 minutes now. Slips it out to Smallwood, and he does pick up the first down. Taking a look at the next-gen stat look on the Jaguars defense. They coming into this game pretty stout on anybody trying to gain 10 or more yards through the air against this defense. Few defenses better than them coming into this game, but today Carson Wentz has had a day. Jalen Ramsey did get his interception on Wentz on a long pass play, but other than that, the Eagles have been efficient with the deep, middle to deep passing game. Wentz hands this off. Nice hole and run by the rookie Jamal Adams. The Golden Domer brings it inside the 10.
That's where they've had all the success all day long running the football is between the tackles. Jason Peters right there kicks out the defensive end. Nice little cut off to the left-hand side, but again, a big hole for their running backs. And you have to remember, Philly came in not being able to run the football very well at all, but it's been the Achilles heel of this Jacksonville team is those teams that can run it down the hill straight at those linebackers.
Josh Adams, pardon me.
Balance right now. Tackled over.
7 carries for 56 yards. It's Adams again. Nice cut. Doesn't get very much right there. Brings up a second down. Telvin Smith with the stop.
But if that's the one thing, though, the Philly can get back to running the ball like they ran the ball last year. You know, we talked about them doing that internal audit. that would be the thing to help them get back on pace to where they want to be again this year, defending
And you
that
mentioned that,
championship.
Michael, when we were talking to Howie Roseman, coach, we were asking him, did you go out there and look for a back? And he said, yeah, he's made some calls, but everybody, as you get closer to the deadline, is asking for a little too much. But wouldn't be surprised if there was a couple more calls, because if they can find that bell cow back without having Jay Ajayi, without having LeGarrette Blount, who was here last year, was really what separated them, was their ability to run the football and win the line of scrimmage.
That's Barry Church still having a knee here. He just popped up. Melissa, start.
Rich, we know this Jags D came in with a number of injuries, particularly the secondary. Well, undrafted rookie Quentin Meeks, who started this game because they were already down 3 corners, now out for the rest of the game with a knee injury. That means they have Jalen Ramsey and undrafted rookie Trey Herndon. Also, defensive end special teams captain Lorente McCray. He's out for the game with a hamstring.
Well, that banged up defense trying to keep it a 1-score game here. 2nd and goal, 10-minute mark. Right around the 5-yard line for Wentz. Throwing it, end zone. Plucked out of the air by Ertz. Touchdown. Well, we've seen the Wentz to Ertz connection as the Eagles are soaring in their celebration in the end zone. We've seen it throughout the year, and it was a big touchdown grab here.
Right here on the rookie corner, Trey Herndon, he gives him that stick outside and inside, and that was too easy.
Wasn't that on your XO?
Yeah, that was the same thing against Janoris Jenkins earlier in the
Lean to
season.
the inside, get the corner to turn, and then break back to the outside.
Big extra point. And it's good. So it's a 9-point game here, 24-15. When we come back, Jacksonville's backs against the wall. Well, he knew it was a big to-do with the NFL Network coming to town with the first 4-man booth. The Queen came out.
Came out to say hi?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm being told the King and Queen of the Netherlands were here, and this is why the Queen was riding in the carriage in the streets of London this week.
I like it better that she came out to see you.
It wasn't about us.
Well, people did accuse us of having like a Naked Gun remake with all of us in the booth, 4 of us here. So the Queen had to come out, one would think. But we have really enjoyed today. We've really enjoyed our week here in London. As the London series wraps up, there is a Mexico City game still to come on Monday night with our friends at ESPN with the Chiefs and the Rams.
Wow.
And this is what's at stake here in the 4th quarter. Philadelphia needing to keep pace with the Washington team that's taking on 1-win New York later today. And Houston already won their 5th in a row, kicking off Week 8 with that Thursday night win that we saw on Fox. And I just want to give a shout out to our friend Joe Buck, who's just crushing,
killing it.
LCS to World Series to Thursday night football. Here's Blake Bortles throwing it over the middle on a must-have. I mean, a must convert into points. One would think 4th quarter drive here, down 9 now, less than 10 minutes to go. Short gain on 1st down right there, gain of 6 to keep them on schedule here.
And a lot of talk about this Philly defense, and they're giving up that 17 points last week. But we have to remember their offense, 0 points, only 22 yards in the 4th quarter last week. Went down and made a big drive to get points that last time out.
2nd and 4, Bortles stepping up in the pocket, throwing a wide open Westbrook. Nice gain, bringing them into the plus side of the field into Philadelphia territory on a gain of 20. Flag on the field. Let's see if they're going to wipe that out or not. We'll see if he was wide open for a reason.
Eagles sideline saying it's against the Jags. I'm not really sure what happened over there.
McDougal fell down. So let's see.
After the play was over, taunting, offense number 12. 15-yard penalty from the dead ball spot. Still be 1st down. And that is a 1st in the category for number 12. If he gets another unsportsmanlike conduct, he will be disqualified.
I never understand this stuff. You're down 4th quarter, down by 9.
That was it.
Made a big play, I understand, but get up and toss the ball and talk. Just get back in the huddle, line up again.
They'll need those plays, Kurt, and we talked about them dumping the ball off over the middle. They don't have time to continue to do that. They need the bigger plays upfield.
So that's a net gain of 5. Yeldon can't handle the ball put out maybe just a touch too far in front of him. Douglas was tracking him down anyway.
And that's what you talk about when you talk about accuracy, right, Coach? Is the ability to put that in a position where they can catch and do something with it after the catch. And it doesn't seem like a hard throw, but when the guy's running away from you sideline to the sideline, it's difficult to be able to throw that accurately. That miss there cost him 5-7 yards.
But give Blake credit, Kurt. That was on the receiver, not him.
Bortles giving Yeldon another chance. Grabs it, making it 3rd and medium yardage. What a big penalty that was.
That was a huge penalty.
They were in Philadelphia territory and then suddenly not.
Yeah, so this becomes now a huge down on 3rd and 4.
Mike, you talked about it. They've had trouble getting big plays down the field. You finally get one, and then you have to move back.
Gain of 6 makes it 3rd and 4. The Eagles fans who traveled to London in full throat. No offsides called. That's Yeldon wide open. He's got it, making a move. Still on his feet and down at the 20-yard line. Big, huge 3rd down gain for Jacksonville.
This is a route that I used to love to call with Marshall. We call bullets. And he's just going to slide out here. You're going to bring the receiver across on the inside and pick the linebacker and get your back over the top. And Yeldon has been great out of the backfield for this team all year long.
Nice pick on the linebacker in coverage.
37-yard gain. It's down to the 21. Bortles stepping up. He's keeping it, and he slides. No flag there. There it is, actually.
That might be taunting.
Nigel Bradham on the stop or hit. Let's see if it's ruled too late or Bortles gets called for taunting, which would be something else.
Personal foul. Hit to the head of the quarterback. After distance to the goal. Automatic. 1st down.
Well, just as I said no flag, it came out.
And I tell you, it's a good call because it's in the rules, right? You go helmet to helmet or you hit the quarterback in the head. But what gets so difficult is when you play against a guy like Blake Bortles all day long.
Kurt, I
you're right. You're right.
Actually,
thought it was to the head, but it looks like there it was to the shoulder. But Blake Bortles is a guy that will go head first often, so it makes it tough on these linebackers to know if they can come with speed or not.
Questionable call, to say the least, on 1st and 8. Bortles trying to buy time and runs out of time to pick up just a few yards. Yeah, Hicks is like, I didn't touch it.
I didn't do it.
You know, and I know that we've got a game here and that there's lots moving up here and that they're moving fast. But this is why replay, in my mind, should be used for stuff like this. I mean,
that's what I thought they were going to call.
Maybe called him for taunting, but I did not see any contact to the helmet. At any rate, is Bortles 2nd and goal, and that's a drop by Hyde.
He wasn't ready for that ball, Rich. Blake had a little pressure and he was just getting rid of it.
Jordan Hicks on the coverage. 7 minutes, 5 seconds to go. 4th quarter, 9-point game. As you can see, this has been a problem for Jacksonville this year. Red zone offense, getting into this part of the field and converting it into a touchdown. 3rd and goal. Bortles, end zone, and it was juggled and dropped by Chark. Chark had 2 shots at it. Oh, boy.
It was zone coverage. It was a tight window. He had to get it up and over the top. He's almost pulls this thing in. Wow.
And he had to get rid of it, Coach. And look, he wanted to let him clear a little bit longer, but he had pressure. He got rid of it, and he has to come up with that play. Chark has to make that play.
So it's a 24-yard field goal attempt for Lambeau. Tries to make it a 6-point game. And he does. Blake Bortles, red zone troubles, wearing it on his face right now. But it's a 1-score game when we come back.
This NFL Network special is brought to you by Hyundai, official sponsor of the NFL.
Okay, welcome back to London. So the 15-yard penalty called on the Eagles defense. He served, I guess, to get Josh Lambo closer for his career-tying best 4th field goal of the day, or career best tying, I guess is a better way to put it. And it makes it a 6-point game here. Philadelphia getting the ball back, less than 7 minutes to go. As you pointed out, Kurt, last week, the Eagles offense did its part in a way in that 4th quarter collapse by not getting any yards or first downs. They've already scored a touchdown with a flag down on this return. And that flag is thrown on the goal line. So,
what are they calling back there?
See what that means. Let's sort this out as Wentz comes out on the field. It's John Hussey.
On the kicking team did not have 5 players in the proper formation. Philadelphia has elected to choose that 5-yard penalty from the succeeding spot. First down.
There's Joe DeCamillos, the special teams coordinator, who already was on edge earlier for one of the Lambeau field goals when somebody came running out late to protect on the line. It almost cost them a timeout. They have 2 remaining, both teams do. So less than 7 minutes to go, and the Eagles could use to take some time off. They take some time off, put even more points on the board. It would put them in a terrific position towards the end of this game. And right now, it's 1st and 10 from their own 32. And it's a handoff to Josh Adams. Ball's out. Ball's out, and the Jaguars say they have it. Let's see this sorted out. And they do. Jacksonville with a huge turnover. The rookie from Notre Dame, who had been having a quality day, leading the team in rushing with 58 yards.
Well, I think he's down.
It's going to be close. That was Avery Jones who knocked it out. Was he down before the ball came out? This is obviously going to be reviewed. Was it loose as he was on his way down? Is there enough evidence to overturn? He still has it, and it looks like left cheek is on pitch, which I never thought I would ever say that. They will review this, and when we come back, we'll see if Jacksonville has gotten a huge takeaway or the Eagles are back on the turf. We'll be right back after these messages from Verizon and Gatorade. All right, both offenses are now on the field while we welcome in Dean Blandino from the Fox Los Angeles studios. What do you think, Dean?
Yeah, when both
After
offenses
review,
are out on the
the
field,
runner was down by contact before the ball came out. It will be 2nd down on the 35-yard line. But will the game clock operator please set the game clock to 6:48, please? 6:48.
It was really close, but it looked like his backside was down just before the ball started to come loose. And what I was going to say is when both offenses are out there, it's close. But obviously, the decision makers in New York thought there was enough to overturn it.
Okay, so it is just, instead of a takeaway for Jacksonville, it's a 3-yard gain for Philadelphia. And the clock is moving again. Bringing up a 2nd and 7 here. Play fake. Wentz going to throw it, and he's down. He's down, and it's Yannick Ngakoue. Ngakoue bags Wentz, bringing up a 3rd and long.
This is one of the things last week. He only ran the ball 1 time in the 4th quarter, dropped back to throw the football. You want to use time off the clock. Definitely don't want to have sacks like this. Nice job by Ngakoue. Yeah, being able to beat that double team there and get to Wentz.
3rd and 13. 6 minutes to go, 4th quarter. Wentz, quick throw out to Aguilar, and that goes nowhere. So Jacksonville doesn't get the takeaway, but they do get the 3 and out. Ronnie Harrison ended that play just as it started.
What a great play by Ronnie Harrison. And he's in their big nickel, rookie from Alabama. He's as big as some linebackers, but he beat the block by Ernst, and away he goes on that tackle. That's a heck of a play.
And we talked about the success that Blake Bortles has had here in London. And right now, this game is being laid on him right now to come back, try to get a touchdown and win this game.
We approach the 5-minute mark. D.D. Westbrook is standing on his own 20. And he calls for fair catch and grabs it at his own 26-yard line. Peter Schrager take it away.
Rich, we were talking about the Jaguars' defensive backfield being depleted by injuries. The Eagles' #1 corner, Jalen Mills, is not on the field. He had a foot injury, came out, was working out with trainers, went back into the tunnel. He's not out there either, so both defensive backfields are down to their backups at the moment.
All right, Peter and Melissa doing great jobs for this broadcast on each sideline. They've tightened the bolts on that fourth quarter defense so far. For Philadelphia, Bortles, first down, flips it out underhanded to Yeldon. Oh, some improvisation, gets a nice first down pickup.
And Michael, you mentioned it. This game does a great job of writing some unbelievable stories. I mean, we saw one earlier in the year. Mason Crosby missed those 4 kicks in Detroit and gets the game winner the next week. How about Blake Bortles being benched now with an opportunity to lead his team down and get a win?
2nd and 1. Bortles over the middle, and it's incomplete. That was incomplete to Rashad Green.
How do you miss that play there, Kurt?
Well, first of all, I'm not really sure which one he was throwing to.
That's true.
Kind of split 2 different guys in the underneath. Maybe he was just indecisive. Which one do I want? And threw it out and let it miss.
Yeah, I guess I just chose Green instead of Yeldon. It could have been either one. 3rd and 1. 4.5 to go. 6-point game. Bortles over to Yeldon, and that's it's an incomplete pass. Incomplete pass. Douglas broke it up. It's probably a better result for Jacksonville there that he did break it up. And is Bortles staying on the field? He is.
Oh boy! Wow. Does the chart say go for it?
Well,
with 4:27 left in the game.
There's no chart for this situation, but Blake Bortles has won his last 3 games here in London, and they feel good about playing here. So if they want to win this thing, they got to go down.
Those are Eagle fans, Rich. They are up.
2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning to go. They keep the offense out there on 4th down. Bortles spinning, running for it, first down. Blake Bortles picks it up with his feet.
Wow.
And there was a nice little cat and mouse there with Jordan Hicks, who was in coverage. He knew he had a receiver coming over behind him, so he didn't know, and you're going to see him right here. He's got a receiver that's coming in behind him, and he sees that as Blake Bortles runs out. Do I cover him? Do I go get Blake Bortles? I don't really know. Nice job by Blake Bortles to play the cat and mouse and get the first down.
For believing in his quarterback in that situation.
Gain of 4, Bortles over the middle. Taking what he can get. Dante Moncrief as we near the 4-minute mark of the 4th quarter.
All these little read routes, you're going to run against man, you're going to sit against zone. You can make a living on a drive like this doing it.
Kurt, I bet Blake Bortles feels good about that. You know, you get benched, come back, and you get that 4th down opportunity to make that play.
2nd and 2. Around midfield. Bortles. Airmailed Moncrief there. Bringing up 3rd down and 2. I mean, you've got 2 3-4 teams. The defending Super Bowl champion Eagles winning on opening night against Atlanta. Played 2 games without Carson Wentz. They lost last week, blowing a 4th quarter lead after dominating the Giants the week before. And then you've got an inconsistent Jaguars team after starting 2-0, beating the New England Patriots to go 2-0, losing 4 of 5, now trying to come back today. 3rd and 2. Wentz, ball's batted down. And one assumes if they went for it on 4th and 1, they're going to do it on 4th and 2.
Oh, yeah.
And you talk about Philly too, 3 and 4. All 4 of their losses have come by 1 possession or 1 score up to this point. And their big message was, we have to find a way to finish. Carson Wentz told me that before the game. We're doing a lot of good things. We just have to find a way to finish. Here's a great opportunity to grow in that area.
Fletcher Cox with his big left mitt batting that one down. 4th and 2. Bortles flips it out, incomplete. Pass intended for Moncrief. It's incomplete. Turnover on downs, 3:36 to go.
That's a great defensive snap. Now you had pressure on the quarterback. He couldn't hold it. They contained him this time. The last 4th down, he got out of there, and it was tight coverage all the way around. Hard to fit it in there.
Ronald Darby was the one on the coverage.
So defense did their part. Now it's up to the offense to put this thing away, right? 3:36 to go. Not only do you want to get first downs and use the clock, but you want to get 3 points out of this, make it a 2-possession lead.
We call this a 4-minute drill. You practice it every week. You want to make first downs, chew the clock, and you want to score at the end of a long drive here.
And this is where that run game can really help Philly if it comes along.
And it's Smallwood that's running it. Handed right away. Calais Campbell, who's had a heck of a day, leading the charge. Quick timeout, Jacksonville, 3:32 to go. And again, you can't overstate it. 3 and 5 is not what the defending Super Bowl champs thought they had a possibility to be. And the Jacksonville Jaguars at 2-0 after beating Tom Brady and the Patriots. 3 and 5 is a mystifying possibility as well. And somebody's got to win this football game with a 6-point game and just mere minutes to go. There's a ton at stake.
Well, and the difference of going into a bye too, Coach, right? Of being 3 and 5 or 4 and 4. I know it doesn't sound like a big deal, but having that momentum going into the bye would be huge for either one of these teams.
So it's 2nd and 10. Jaguars have another timeout and a 2-minute warning remaining. Wentz still has it, and he's got a ton of room in front of him, but he throws to a wide open Jordan Matthews.
And that's what I like.
Love the play call here, right? You get Carson Wentz outside where he can make a play.
Here comes Carson Wentz over here, and Jordan Matthews.
He can run it if he needs to and keep using the clock. But watch this, working Miles Jack right there to the outside and throwing it back underneath him. Well done by Carson Wentz.
And all Jordan wanted to do was catch that ball. He said, I'm not dropping this ball. I need to catch this ball and just stop right here and let that clock keep moving.
Well, Jacksonville stopped it. He just got right down. Jaguars are out of timeouts. There is a 2-minute warning in 1:23 from now. Doug Marrone's defense needs a big-time takeaway if they can somehow get it, because they're on the edge of Jake Elliott's field goal range as well. Smallwood on the first down carry. Just about a yard, maybe 2, and the clock is running. Jacksonville not able to stop it.
Coach, you talked about this earlier, and making sure right now you don't have any negative plays, any penalties or anything to take you out of field goal range right now when you can put this game into a tough situation for the Jaguars.
Exactly right, Mike. And Carson Wentz in the huddle, give him the play, yeah, but he's reminding them, hang on to the football. No penalties, stay in bounds, all those types of things that run the clock down to the 2-minute warning.
2:43 and running. Smallwood behind Wentz again. Gets it. A nice gain and a first down, which will take it down to the 2-minute warning. And things looking grim for the Jaguars here in London.
What did Coach Walsh say this week, right? Where we have our most trouble is when teams are running straight downhill at us. A tough run between the tackles. Nice job by Smallwood to put his pads down and get us the first down.
When you're at the 2-minute warning and the opponent has no timeouts left, you take a knee, the game's over.
You see him put both of those hands over that ball. He wrapped that ball up to make sure it would not come loose.
Carson Wentz and the Eagles at the 2-minute warning, up 6 with the ball. A friendly reminder to stay tuned for the U.S. Army postgame with Colleen Wolfe, Michael Robinson, and Mike Garafolo as the rest of Week 8 beckons. A victory formation has appeared here in Wembley. Wentz takes the first knee. Man, the difference between 4-4 and 3-5. 31% of 4-4 teams have made the playoffs. All right, we'll round up. 31.6 is up to 32.
Wow.
And then 8% of 3-5 teams have made it, with the 2015 Chiefs, Saints, and Texans, the last to do it. And as for the Texans, this would give them a 2-game lead over the defending AFC South champions, while the defending champions of the NFL hit the halfway part of their schedule at 4-4. The second knee for Wentz. One more will do it. And we'll also bring a close to the London series here. After 3 games, Seahawks and Raiders. Last week, the Chargers, Titans, and this one that we were thrilled to bring you here on NFL Network. As the headset comes, that's the sign, right, Steve? When the coach takes the headset off, that's it?
Yeah, it's like Red Auerbach for the Celtics. You smoke the cigar. Take the headset off, Rich.
Very good. Very good. There'll be a bye week coming up for both teams. And that will do it. So the players coming out on the field. The Eagles improved to 4-4. The Jaguars, once upon a time 2-0, fall to 3-5. Hugs all around. So for Kurt Warner, Michael Irvin, and you, Steve Mariucci, Melissa Stark, Peter Schrager, T-Man in the truck, Scope. Thanks to those guys, Mitchell Smith and Jeff Nelson, who were helping me here in the booth. This was awesome. So long from London. Final score is Eagles 24, Jaguars 16. Next up, the U.S. Army postgame show right after these messages.